Oh, everybody was very sweet. I can't tell you how great it feels to be home. Oh, feels so good. We were lucky enough to be part of the Toby Keith's fundraiser for the victims of Moore, for the two tornadoes that hit here in Oklahoma, out by Shawnee as well. And was lucky enough to be invited into the University of Oklahoma's stadium. When was that? Maybe
4 years ago?
4 years ago?
Yeah.
5 years ago? In knowing that doing that, Oklahoma City became one of the 4 cities that we touched during our time off to raise our babies. So with that, we knew that this would be one of the last handful of cities on this North American tour. It seems like it's been forever. And it's been a long, long journey on this tour. We're approaching 3 years on this tour. We'll be done in December with the North American leg of it. But it just seemed like it's been forever to get here, so it just feels so good to finally to be back home. Yes, sir.
Mentioning the...
What is your name, sir?
Mac Burton. I'm with the Norman Transport.
Hey, Mac.
Mentioning the show that we played at Owen Field, I remember you saying something to the effect of, it felt like old times in a way. We yet to go back to touring in earnest. I guess what was the emotion as a performer, and obviously, you had mentioned the emotional aspect of being there for that reason, but as a performer, how did that feel to be back in a big stadium atmosphere after playing in Vegas for quite a while?
The truth is, I really don't remember much, but I know it was hotter than hell, and it all went by very, very fast. So much the fact that I don't even think we even came out for an encore, because my head was swimming so fast because it had been so long since you played that kind of atmosphere. But I thought the people were fantastic. I don't know how much you remember about it, but I remember it was probably 2 or 3 in the afternoon because we had a gig in Vegas that night.
Right.
So we went on after Mel Tillis, and Mel Tillis still plays in the 3-piece suits, right? And it was 100 and something degrees kind of thing. So me and Mitch Yearwood are walking to the stage. He comes up, and he's got a towel around him anyway, and he's sweating his ass off. He comes up to me, swear to God, he just comes up and he goes, "Follow that." That's what he said. It's like, yeah, baby. So it was on. It was good. So I think just the joy of getting to play for Oklahomans, that's probably it for me. We were over at the Zone, and there was a family there from the UK because the hospital here offers things that they can't get over there yet. They say it's coming in about the next year, but they're here. And I just put my arm around the guy. It was him and his wife and his daughter. And I said, what do you like about this place? He says, the people are phenomenal. I said, that's it. So I think there's always that emotion right there. Damn it. And I think it's emotion. Just playing for the people you were raised around. I just saw Jamie Cycle, who I went to high school with over at the hospital. She looks fantastic. And it just already started for me. So I think wanting to mean something to these people is something probably I've wanted more than anything else on the planet. So it's always good to come home and play. Hey, Kelly. How are you doing, big man?
We talked 20 years ago.
Yes, sir.
And I asked you why you didn't do more concerts in Oklahoma City, and you said one of my greatest fears is that the people of Oklahoma will get tired of it.
Yeah.
You're not still afraid of that?
Oh, yeah, always, man. That's why we don't tour that long between cities. I mean, this, other than Toby's thing, this would be like every other city. It'd be 20 years since we've been here. You just don't want that one thing. We talk about this all the time. That fear of coming to Oklahoma City, Garth Brooks. And somebody goes, oh, God, again? So it's like, wasn't he just here like 6 months ago? So you kind of want it to be as special for them as it is for you, if that makes any sense.
So saying that, extra adrenaline tonight, knowing it's playing for a hometown?
Yeah, it's going to suck. It just is. Because you know how much you want to do everything right and nothing goes right when you want to do everything right. That's what tonight's going to be. My guys are going to look at me like, what in the hell's wrong with you? All of them. They'll look at you and go, what the hell's wrong with them? And they'll just know, I'm home. So you kind of want to do your best here.
Do you mind if I ask Ms. Yearwood a question?
Please, sir.
Bill Reed with Cash Fly.
Hey, Bill.
How are you, Bill?
Cookbooks planned.
Yes, I mean, we've got 3 out, and there should be a new one. I should be starting one between the tour and the TV show. I don't have a lot of time at the moment, but I will, and that will happen. I wanted to say something about Oklahoma, if I could, because I'm from Georgia, and I have to say that I lived here for 14 years, and until we moved back to Nashville to start this tour. And it's the only place I've ever lived other than home that I felt like was home. And that was when I moved here, Garth said to me what he just said, which is, you're going to love the people. This is a land of common sense. You're going to love the people. And I met some of the best friends I'll ever have here. It's so as much as this is Garth's home, Oklahoma made me feel like it was mine too. So I feel like I'm coming home too, and I feel like I'm going to cry, which is weird.
There you go.
but just happy to be here.
So what's on the to-do list whenever you come home? I believe, if I remember correctly, Miss Yearwood has an affinity for Brahms.
I do.
So what's on the to-do list?
Miss Yearwood's not the only one who has an
I was
affinity
gonna
for
say,
Brahms.
I think everybody on the planet has an affinity for Brahms.
Before I moved to Oklahoma, Garth said, you're going to love two things. You're going to love Brahms, and you're going to love the sunsets. And he was right on both counts. I don't know. I mean, mainly it's going to be seeing family and friends because there's a lot of them. And so I think that's going to probably be the focus on this trip. I'm sure there'll be a Brahms burger and some crinkle fries in our future at some point.
We also got caught off guard because Sunday wasn't available for us in this building. So the ticket sales went a little more than they thought they were going to. So that Friday night show, the real late one, we haven't done that in probably 2 years because we moved everything to Mountain A's. But since Sunday wasn't available, now you're talking 4 shows in about 27 hours. So this old man's going to be sleeping probably when we're not on stage, because the truth is you're on stage and you're only here once. You want to give it everything you got. So those 4 shows will be, hopefully from start to finish of all 4 of them, would just be a constant, kind of pattern. So we'll be tired, I'm sure.
And both of you,
I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
would love both of you to answer this question. How has Oklahoma influenced some of your songwriting in the past? I'm Marky Mark of Channel 5.
Hi, Miss Mark.
Are there any specific songs that have direct Oklahoma ties that you could list
A big
off
question
us?
for you.
Yeah, I mean, all of mine do. I mean, this is where you're raised. So the things that you're raised with, I talk about I'm the last of 6 kids. Well, those 6 kids, any award they give me, they deserve it, because they're the ones that taught you how to play guitar. They're the ones that taught you what you think in your life. Your mom and dad, those are my 2 heroes. And so everything influences you here. So everything from the first album, From Much Too Young to Feel This Damn Old, written by Randy Taylor from Tahlequah, Oklahoma, at Oklahoma State University, going to school there, all the way to let's talk about the new single, Ask Me How I Know, a kid from East Tennessee, Mitch Rossell. He's exactly like the kids I went to school with. And so we're raised the same way, just kind of raised believing that every day was a blessing and a gift, and you better take advantage of that day. And everyone you throw away, you're never going to get back. And that's how you're raised here, and that's how you was raised out there. So I think that whatever that is stays with you your whole life. And of course, that affects how you write, because you're writing from your soul, hopefully, which was born here. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Hey, Dan.
Durant Daily Democrat, used to be in radio. Do you remember walking down a hallway about 25 years ago to kindergarten class, turning around, looking at me? You were white, about to pass out. I said, "What's wrong, Garth?" He said, "These kids don't know what a Garth Brooks is."
No, they don't.
Your first time to be a guest reader at the kindergarten.
Yeah, my mama was with me. It was a good day.
Bob was with Bob Dorff.
Yeah, Bob was with us. Yeah, it's cool until you understand. It was
Garth Brooks is now.
It was when I went into a class about 3 months ago, and everyone in that class were talking about basketball. I said, "Who here knows Michael Jordan?" I was like, "What? Who here knows LeBron?" Boom, right? So it just goes to tell you, the greatest of the greatest for those kids. It's all just whatever time they're in. I think my job when I get to work around any kids, as far as reading for them or doing these camps that we do in these cities, is just making sure they know it's their turn and they can do anything that they put their heart and soul to. That's fun. Yes, sir.
Bill Liston with Channel 4.
Hey, Bill.
You were talking about influences. You're here for this weekend stand of concerts. From what I've read that Beatles, Paul McCartney has been a big influence on your songwriting, your history, and he's going to be playing here on Monday. This is a jam-packed weekend for music lovers here in Oklahoma City. Talk about that and those influences.
Yeah, man, I think I think there are guys like me that get to play on the weekend because that's when people can show up. And there's guys like McCartney that can turn a Monday into a weekend because you're going to show up for him no matter what day it is. So just love him, you know. I've been lucky enough to have my name mentioned in sentences with those guys in it. But between me and you, as long as you know this, it's all I care about. I don't belong in that crowd. But it's cool to have those guys as mentors. It's cool to see that their music still has not come out yet, if that makes any sense. They were so far ahead of their time. You haven't heard anybody like the Beatles since, and McCartney stuff. And what I loved about McCartney was he went from one unbelievable group to another. And so it just shows you how that talent kind of crosses over no matter how you dress it up. Oklahoma City's lucky to have him come here, and he's going to be very lucky to get to play here. It's going to be a good marriage. Oh, you guys are easy.
You mentioned Michael Jordan, LeBron James sort of comparison, but you're Entertainer of the Year now for CMA. What was that experience like to get to be CMA Entertainer?
It was sweet. It was one of those things where you just kind of go numb right before they say your name. The Queen here was talking smack all night. I mean, all the way down the press line, I'm going, honey, and she was calling it. She called it that night, which was pretty sweet. I
mean, the awards are, you know, they are what they are, and so you never really know what's going to happen. And sometimes what should happen actually happens. And I mean, I was very confident that night that he is the Entertainer of the Year, whether he took the award home or not. Because if you look at the statistics that he won't share, you know, about, like, there's just not a tour like this in the world. There's nobody doing this. And if you look at the definition, what Entertainer of the Year is, it's this guy. So I was gonna get pretty rowdy if they hadn't called his name. I was ready, but I also just felt really calm right before because I just felt like it was going to happen. So, you know, it's probably what was that 5-time Entertainer of the Year for you? So, you know, he usually wears the sash and the crown, you know, but he didn't wear that today. So.
Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, because people are going to ask you, does it get old? And in fact, it's the other way around. Anybody in any business knows that the longer you're in it, the less those things happen to you. And they're for young people. They just are. But I got to tell you, for the band and crew, for what you don't see tonight, if people walk out here going, man, that was cool, what they didn't see was what the cool part was, how hard that band and crew works. I'll put them up against anybody. So that Entertainer of the Year award goes to the band and goes to the crew. And you'll see tonight. You'll go, oh my God, I forgot. This guy doesn't do anything. He says, we're working. He's working us like rented mules right now. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work you to death, and I'm going to work that man to death while I sit there and just take it easy. It's going to be fun. It's the easiest gig on the planet. Again, don't try this at home, but it's the easiest gig on the planet.
I also want to say this, which he won't say, that he was probably more excited to win that award for the band and crew than for himself. And as a testament to that, we had a big party on the road, and every single person of this 50-some-odd motley crew got to hold the award and have their picture made with it by themselves and with him. And
they gave speeches. It was
gave speeches. They got T-shirts. We had a big party because it really is about them. And so
it's their award.
It is their award, and they deserve it this year too because it's still the biggest tour in the world. This year is doing bigger business than last year. So I'm, get ready. I'm going to get ugly.
Are you? Yeah, I thought somebody's ass was going to get whipped last year. It was getting that way. It's good.
You want to take that one? A lot of yes, dear. I mean, on my part, I just do what I'm told, kind of.
Are you quoting me right now?
Yeah, I am. I'll start it. When we got married, it'll be 12 years in December. We made a very conscious decision to not be apart if we were going to be together. So that means that we do most everything together, and I think that's been the biggest key is that has to be a priority in your marriage. And we had both been married before, and that was not our necessarily priority. And so we decided if we're going to do this, then why do we want to be apart? And so I cut my touring way down. He retired. I moved to Oklahoma. That's when the first cookbook happened because I was trying to find a way to be creative and be at home and still be able to go to soccer games and all that stuff. And and now we get to do this together. So it's been great because we both get a chance to go out and do what we feel like we're supposed to do with our careers, but we get to do it together. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, I'll echo that sentiment. We flew out here together, and as soon as we hit the ground, we were supposed to both go to the zone and stuff. And as we're flying at her, she goes, "What are you wearing?" I said, "Well, I brought a sports jacket. I got a button down." And she goes, and I knew right then. It's like, oh crap, I forgot to tell her, right? So
Cut off jeans.
She's dressed like this, and I go, "I tell you what, why don't you go on the gig and I'll do it and I'll come meet you." And she says, "Okay." And I know it's stupid, I know it's crazy, I know it makes me a girl, but just the fact that when we landed, we weren't going to the same place together, I didn't like it. So you just want to get back together. So wherever she's at's home. If I can just get to her, I'm good. So, and that's what makes it fun. So we do kind of everything together. We Nintendo 64 together. We do everything together. Cook together.
We play on the same team.
She's pretty damn good.
What's your favorite recipe out of the books?
For me, anything with mashed potatoes. That's what she does. I mean, just so anything. But as you guys know, you guys know me. I'm the last of 6 kids. We didn't have a lot of money, so leftovers never was our deal. So this is the first time I've ever got to taste food that even tastes better the day after she makes it, because I'm a casserole guy anyway, something you can just take 2 spoons, one in each hand, and just dig in, and it's
cold lasagna sandwiches, he likes those,
that kind of thing. So I think just anything that she makes, pretty much. Neither one of us are fish people, seafood people, but everything else is pretty much down the line. Good. Yes, sir.
What is your name? Michael Johnson.
Michael, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. The question I had was, back in the day, I can remember you played in 1988, a little town, MacArthur, Ohio, barely shows up on the map. That's where I'm from.
Oh, okay.
And it was right around the time the dance, hit that one. But at that time, it was a small crowd, big crowd by their standards, but small by today's standards. But afterwards, you had stuck around and met with every fan, signed every autograph.
Yeah.
It was something that meant a lot to my family that was there and everything.
It's very sweet.
So the question I have is that, do you ever think back to that time in your career and kind of miss that, being able to be that close with the fans, or you can't really do that today?
Yeah, well, the crazy thing is you can. You can do that because, oddly enough, in this career, there's a thing where from there, I can tell you the last date we ever signed after show was Texas A&M, because the sun was coming up when the last person was getting signed, and it was making you late to the next gig that you were going. So we just made that conscious decision. That was it. And then there's something that happens in your career, if you're lucky enough to be here long enough, that the fact that you're in the room is just, hey, there's a guy in the room and that guy plays music. And so you get to be that guy again. You get to sit around and talk to people, hug people. And fanfare, what used to be fanfare, was my favorite thing. Because if anybody here knew my mama, you guys know she loved people. So that was it. So I loved fanfare because we all stunk. We were all sweaty. A lot of corduroy going on, and but it was great because you loved one another and you got to be with your people. So now Fan Fest is a little more organized but you can still at any time walk right outside that barrier and you can hug. And that's the great thing about country music. They'll give you numbers that can compete with the Paul McCartneys of the world, but at the same time, they want you to be the guy next door, and that's the greatest gift. The greatest gift you can give anybody is let them be themselves, and it be enough.
If she were here
Thank you.
today, what would you say to her at this press conference?
Well, I can tell you what she'd say to me. She'd say, "My God, you put on some weight." That's what she'd say. She's a doll. This was at Cowboys and down in Dallas. Yeah. Yeah. We've got you don't know this yet, and I didn't say this, but the anthology is coming out this year. And it runs through the first 5 albums. So the first 5 years. So Rope in the Wind, we're in Dallas at Cowboys right there. And on the other side, my mom was on this side. On the other side stage was Ty England's parents. And there was we talk about that whole story right there, this exact same shot. Beautiful. Yeah, I miss her to death. I miss my dad to death. But the truth is, they're with you every day because you said what influences you. And the first time you look at somebody and go, "How you doing, young lady?" You go, "Oh, my God, I'm my dad." My dad said young lady all the time. So that was so it's good. Those are sweet little reminders. Thank you for this. Very sweet.
I have a question about influences. I was at a Jimmy LaFave tribute concert
Yes.
At Woody Fest and got a chance to talk to Greg Jacobs.
Yes.
And he talked about, he remembered those days when you were at OSU and you'd go to Willie's, and he said he studied us all, that he would watch us play.
Greg Jacobs, you betcha.
He was trying to see, like absorb as much as he could. But what do you remember about those days? What did you learn from the Stillwater musicians?
I don't remember much other than everything. I remember everything about those days because you were going to school. Greg Jacobs, Dub Cross, these guys were the big names that came through. The Skinner Brothers, the White Buffalo, So it's all these guys, the Red Valley Barnstormers, all these guys were huge successes. And they came through, and it's all that red dirt stuff. And Jacobs was one of those guys that I was telling you this story 3 days ago. Now you're going to go, oh, this is the guy. He brought a little 4x8 carpet with him everywhere he played. He'd put it out and then set up his gear. And I said, man, why do you do that? He goes, because then no matter where I'm at, I'm home. I'm always know where I'm at with this piece. Oh, that's brilliant. I never got to that. I never did the rug thing, but I thought that was pretty sweet. Jacobs was a phenomenal guitar player, and his big song for everybody was, she ain't putting on her fancy clothes or powdering up her pretty nose. He'll know exactly when he hears that song. That was his big song, and I love it. I haven't sang that song in probably 25 years, but you know every word of it because that's how much you loved him and his influence on him. Him and Tom Skinner were real close. Tom was my influence. He was the guy you were wanting to be accepted by and go okay. And so it was sweet to grow up and play music here in Oklahoma for sure.
What are you looking forward to the most after the tour is over and things are all said and done? And again, obviously outside of music, but what's one thing that you're really missing as far as normal everyday life is? If you can answer.
When we started this tour, I would have said that I was overwhelmed by when the first city went on sale, it was Chicago, and it went from 1 show to 11, I think. I panicked real fast, because Garth, he wakes up ready. He's like a puppy, like he wakes up and he is ready to play, and he wants everybody to play with him. And then when he hits the wall, he falls asleep in his food bowl. He's a puppy. But I'm a little more laid back, a little more casual. It's good. It's good. And so I was nervous about that. But when you ask that question now, the first thing that came to my mind is that nothing's missing. I mean, we really have the best of both worlds because after 3 years of doing this, there's an incredible energy on this tour where you're excited to get on the road. You're excited to see our family, this 50-plus group of band and crew that we really do love and have both worked with for 20 years plus, most of these guys and gals. And then when you're home, you're just home. You can stay in your pajamas and drink coffee, or you can get on a tractor, or you can go for a hike with a dog. I mean, you get to do all of it. And it's such a blessing because most people don't get to do what they love to do for a living, and we know that we do. And so I don't think there's anything missing. I think that we might take a nap in January. But other than that, I think it's good, and then we'll figure out what's next.
Yeah, man, we're exhausted. The whole band and crew is exhausted. When you think about it, the 90s that they called the heyday of country music, 100 cities, 3 years, 5 million tickets. This year, 60 cities, 5 million tickets. We're approaching our 400th show, this tour. We're exhausted. But when those lights go down and everything goes up, you're going to see them turn into 5-year-old kids again. So you keep hammering it. And the biggest tour in the 90s was the tour that we were lucky enough to be on. This tour is dwarfing that. So when it's all done, when it's all said and done, and it's January, it's funny. What am I going to miss? I'm going to miss this. It's the greatest way to spend your days with the love of your life. All the guys that's playing there, you've known them all. Dave Gant from Ada, Oklahoma. Brian Petrie, the bartender at Oklahoma State, runs the ship and has for 30 years. We'll introduce him tonight. Ryan Lynn from Dill City, not Dell City, from Dill City out west. They're just all your best buddies, And then you're getting to play this music that 1989 you were playing the dance. Well, guess what the favorite song's going to be tonight? It'll be the dance. That's a beautiful gift right there. And these people, half of them are half of the people you saw last tour. The other half, if you look at Ticketmaster, 48% of the people on this tour, half the arena, 10 years old or not even born yet last time we toured. So you get to see this whole new wave of generation of people, and they're bringing this energy with them. So I don't know how it gets better than this. What the future is, I don't know. Will we ever tour this hard again? I seriously doubt it. But you never say never. And God has blessed us. I never thought this tour would happen. I thought when we hung it up to raise the babies in 2000, I thought we were done then. So this has been a wonderful surprise, and I'm always up for those down the line. Yes, sir.
So just to kind of speak on
What's your name,
legacy,
sir?
My name's Cody. I'm with the Norman Trade.
Hey, Cody. Thank you,
So
pal.
just speaking of your legacy, there's not a moment of my childhood that doesn't involve your music. And to think back to because I was 11 the last time you were in Dallas, and then you came in 2015, and I was lucky enough to go. And it was just incredible. And so my question is, like, when you're doing a show, like, do you have a part of the show that's your favorite part to do? Like the favorite moment.
So 2015 Dallas. Do you remember the show? You were there?
It was the 7th show. It was the last show of the tour.
Sure. Voice was probably just toast. Sure. But did you stay for the thing called the house cleaning or the housekeeping part where they bring their signs?
I did.
And you just come out and it's just, here we go. It's just real honest. It's real fun. I think that's probably my favorite part. But the truth is, when people go, okay, pick one song that you go, if I never sing this song again, I'll be fine. Because everybody wants to hear you say Friends in Low Places, right? But the thing that you don't get about Friends in Low Places, I haven't sung that song in 20 years. I play the first 4 notes, done. I'm through. They take it from there, right? It's the greatest thing in the world. I get to be the fan. I get to be the one that has the best seat in the house, and I get to see every artist in the room singing that song. So that's a beautiful thing for me. So to pick my favorite, I don't know. The entrance. I mean, if you're an entertainer, make an entrance. And you have a different entrance now than you did in Dallas. This tour does. So I'll be real interested to see how you like this entrance. This entrance, you feel pretty cool when you hit, And that's how it starts. And then there's the whole thing in the middle of it where it all goes back to Willie's Saloon in Stillwater, Oklahoma, where it's just you and a guitar and the people. Now, granted, Willie's was 9 or 10 people, so this is going to be a little more, but it's still people singing with you. That's a great part. New music, you're scared to death to play new music. This new single is being treated unbelievable. I'm stunned how this late in our career a song can get this response. It's getting the same response Unanswered Prayers got when it was new. Halfway through the song, they'll just start applauding. It's like, are you kidding me? So that's a wonderful thing. And then you get to introduce your guys that are from here, and they get treated like they should get treated because they're from here. That's a wonderful thing, too. And then your wife comes out and plays, and you're so proud, and your buttons are popping. I don't know. I don't know what would be my favorite part of the show. I just gave the whole show away. I'm so sorry, but yeah. So it's but I enjoy it every minute of it. You guys have been very, very sweet. Thank you for this.
Thank you for having us back.